Hello, everybody. Hi, Michelle.
Hello, hello. How are you?
Surviving. How are you?
Hanging in there. Mark, don't start that.
What's that?
The yawning.
It's way too soon for that. The meeting hasn't even started. You can't do that.
I've had so many meetings this week. It's like, I don't know what meeting I'm in half the time.
I know.
I hear you.
It's been a busy week.
And next week. Gee. But then I'm on vacation for a month. So
A month?
Yeah.
Where are
You going away
for a
again?
month?
yeah, I'm going camping and stuff like that up in Maine and Nova Scotia and all around there.
Oh, that sounds lovely.
Hopefully you won't be impacted by those wildfires coming down from
Fires.
Canada.
I know. It looks okay in Nova Scotia. So
That's great.
they've had rain for the last week, so everything is pretty much yeah.
You taking the Aerostream?
Yeah. Mhm.
Cool. That's awesome. All right, I have 7:01. I think we'll wait a few more minutes to see if we're gonna have quorum and pray that we do. Jim sent me an email. He's not able to make it. He had a family emergency come up and he was the only one. I haven't heard from anybody else.
Lynn sent an email saying
And
that,
Lynn, yes. she
yeah,
was
that she's
join
going to be late.
after. Yeah, she may be late, so let's hold out and hopefully she'll join.
How many members do we have? 7?
7, 8. Wait, no, I have to write them down. David, Patrick, Jim, Mike,
We should just look at the
7.
minutes. 7, right?
Right. And I'm sorry, 8 with Lynn. That's it. And we're short one. So, we need one more. And we can get started.
Well, there's an event at the school that's wrapping up at 7. So Patrick was there. So maybe he's running
Okay.
late.
And does he have someone graduating too?
He does.
He does. That's exciting.
Yeah, his son Adam.
Okay. Let me just open up my document.
So it looked like there was a little issue behind your house last night, Michelle. We were on the meeting and Josh was saying there's a fire.
So I didn't, well, the way my house is positioned, like I can't see anything because the trees are all grown in now and I can't see on that side. So what ended up happening? Was it a chimney fire?
I don't know. I don't know what happened.
I don't
Something
know
like that.
either.
Yeah, I was in Boston, so I was on the meeting from Boston. So I couldn't see it from there.
I don't need any more excitement in my neighborhood right now.
Oh my gosh, was everyone okay?
We don't know. It was like Josh, because Josh's house is a little bit higher than mine. He was probably sitting, could see from where he was sitting in his office out towards Tudor Beach, and he saw the smoke or fire or like flames from a chimney. So he immediately like paused the meeting until they could, notify the hot police. And that's all I know. It's right in the middle of the BOS meeting. That's is not as equally exciting as when we were on a call and a member of the community fainted, and we were on the call with like Rep Capano and others and stuff, and I was like literally jumped on my phone and called the police. I said, get over there immediately.
Oh my
That
gosh.
was really scary. So, but that person was fine, and numerous people flooded the Nahant police, and people who were on that call literally just dropped the call and went over to the house too. So yeah, it's scary, but it's a good community that we live in to do that.
It is, it really is.
All right, well,
Where is everybody?
I don't know, but we'll wait till at least 7:15 because I think that's when Lynn said she was going to be joining, and I apologize.
Did Mike say anything? Mike's usually on. I thought he was going to be in.
No, and he emailed me an article from WBUR, and I read it this afternoon, and then there was another linked article in there about the real estate transfer fees they want to assess now, which they'll use to fund a housing trust, which I thought, and that's moving through the House right now. So I sent those 2 articles out. I thought they were pretty interesting.
Yeah.
I know people aren't going to be thrilled about paying, additional fees when you're buying or selling a house, but the cost of homes is going up right now. I think that's how they're thinking about it.
Yeah, well, there are other revenue sources for the trust too that we could consider. Probably,
Yeah, but this would be
Airbnb.
real estate fees that goes directly back to the town or the
Right.
city. So.
Well, that'd be sort of a double whammy because that's similar to the community preservation that could.
I know.
So we already have the community preservation component with the housing.
Mhm.
That revenues from that could be put into the trust if the town decided to go that way.
So when you have a chance, if you read the first article which has the policy analysis from Tufts, and and then go link to their website to see the findings in terms of the underutilization of CPC funds by communities.
I read that today.
Okay, yeah, it was interesting.
Yeah, I think that's true. I mean,
Yeah.
Pretty true.
So Mark, if I don't have quorum, I'm happy to answer questions about the facilitators guide. I really, it's probably the only thing we can really talk about. And just remind people to be at the event next week.
Right. Mhm.
So you need 2 members to assist with registration. I have it open. I see Alex's notes.
Well, I know we have about 15 people confirmed to attend next week.
Well, that's great.
And I know I had emailed the committee and I sent you that cover letter to send out to like your friends and, network and stuff. So, and I know I emailed like 50 people, and I'm probably going to send a reminder.
Yeah, I'll do the same, and let's get the signboard going this time.
Yes. Yep, I already set that up with Nahant Police. They confirmed it, so we're good there.
Yeah, and the press release, which I liked, actually a
Yep.
lot better. I thought it was much more informative. That went out with the school newsletter last week to all the parents and
great.
guardians. And I'll have the principal do the same for tomorrow.
Mark, so I emailed all the department heads, Council on Aging, Nahant Housing, sent the press release, sent the flyer, so they could communicate it to their staff and, residents and stuff.
Okay.
So I really tried to hit all these different touch points this time.
Mhm. Great. While we're just talking here, Patty, maybe I'll talk to you offline. And who's the chair of the school committee now? Are you?
Me.
Okay.
Tag, I'm in.
Congratulations, re-elected and chair.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'd like to probably talk to you about, I don't know if Tony has already, about food waste and composting and those types of things. So offline, we can do that.
Absolutely.
What do you think, Michelle? Do you want to just give an update? And
Yeah, I mean, I can give a verbal update. It's not an official because we don't have quorum.
Wait, there's Patrick.
Oh,
Yeah. We were waiting for one more member.
Sorry about that.
Patrick, you're like our saving grace today. All right, so why don't we get started now that we have quorum? The chair will be calling the meeting to order at 7:10. Do I have the next thing on the agenda is to approve meeting minutes, and I don't know if we have proper quorum for this, so I think I'm gonna actually table this until we have more of our members. Because not everybody attended each of these meetings.
oh, okay.
Okay. The next item was to talk through and walk through the facilitator's guide. So let me actually share that. And I can walk through what will be happening. Just change screens here. Okay, hopefully you can see my screen. So this is, as you recall, this
There you go.
facilitator's guide is similar, very similar in terms of setup, look and feel from the first engagement. So and I don't know if folks are aware, Christian is no longer on the project. So we're gonna have supplemental staff from MAPC supporting us, and they'll be at the community event. So we wanted to kind of talk through specific roles, but before we go through that, what I want to do is just kind of run through kind of the setup and the activities and stuff. So 6 o'clock, I plan on being there to help MAPC. The hall's going to already be set up because the day before is the 6th grade graduation. I talked to Tony this afternoon. Really, the only thing that needs to be done is to making sure audio and video is set up. They move the podium to the floor and that the screen is on the stage. So we can do the presentation. So, and I'm going to send a follow-up email kind of laying out, Tony, these are the things, boom, 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 for the event. I asked for bottled water, I asked for snacks from last time. It's going to be warm. I just don't want people to be uncomfortable. And sometimes people want a little salty or sweet snack while they're, sitting and stuff. So do that again. In terms of like setup, again, it's going to be very set up similar to what we had before, the podium, stage, screen, and then we're going to have various engagement boards set up in the back or on the sides. And each of these engagement boards are going to be related to the different housing. And I apologize, I have to jump to my notes here. Okay. So each of the engagement boards are going to be related to each of the different housing categories that we're going to be talking about. So capacity and programming, regulatory strategies, policy strategies, and then residential opportunities. And then there's going to be a member from MAPC at each one of those boards that's going to facilitate. And so what's going to happen is people are going to come in, they're going to check in. We'll have the same thing, the map, where do you live in Nahant, and ask people to like pinpoint where they are. They're going to get a sticker and it's going to be numbered and people are going to be in different groups. And then after the presentation that John gives, we're going to take each of those groups and assign them to one of the boards. And then we're going to rotate those groups. And so what MAPC would like us to do is support the member at MAPC that's facilitating that board, as well as kind of be the tour guide for the group, so to speak, for, making sure the residents go over, they participate and, get them to be engaged in terms of, the questions, ideas that they have, feedback. So MAPC can capture that information. There is going to be activities where they'll put stickers on, if there's a certain goal, do you agree with this goal, yes or no? or if we talk about residential opportunities, which one appeases to you the most in terms of an opportunity, and really try to solicit different points of feedback. Talked about kind of the tactical stuff, so that will be fine. If you can't be there at 6 o'clock, that's fine. I plan on being there, but minimally, if you can be there at 6:30, so we can do kind of a team and staff huddle, kind of just do a dry run of what's going on, make sure we know who's where and stuff. And then we'll start getting ready for as people are checking in and stuff as well. And certainly walk around, look at the boards, ask questions of MAPC as well. If there's anything that comes top of mind when you see the boards and the visuals. And then the event will start. So I think, again, we'll need someone at the front for check-in. Last time I did check-in, I'm happy to do it again, but if there's Patty or Patrick or Mark, if you guys want to do check-in, let me know. Don't have to let me know tonight. We can make that call, Thursday, just let me know and I can make sure it's set up. Around 7:15, 7:20, we'll call it to order. Mark, we're looking.
Hi, this is
again,
Tony.
Oh, hey, Tony, welcome. I'm going through the facilitators guide. I have it shared on my screen. And we're at the next section talking about when we'll kick off, bringing the event to order, the official welcome by you, Mark, and then me. And then we're going to do a warm transfer to John, who will be doing about a 30-minute presentation. And then Alex also will be participating as well. After the presentation, that brings us up to about 8 o'clock. We're going to do this breakout session. And Tony, as I was mentioning earlier before you joined, what's going to happen is when people come in and check in, they're going to be assigned a number. And then they're going to be asked to go to one of 4 stations that are going to be set up to talk about the different I can't call them themes because they're not themes. They're different areas within the housing strategy. So, and I'll repeat them again. It's capacity and programming, regulatory, policy, and then developmental opportunities. And then those groups will rotate until they complete all 4 stations. And so the role for us really is a little bit different. We're actually want to just make sure that people are going to those stations, right? And they're engaging with MAPC. I kind of said like we should be the tour guide for each of the groups and making sure that they go to each of the stations and they're being engaged, and there's going to be some activities at each of the stations. Let's see. At the end, we'll bring everybody together. Go ahead.
I was just gonna, are you gonna split us up so that we can,
Yes.
try to initiate conversation at each table?
Yeah, so, it may be, and I don't have everybody here tonight. We only have 4 of us. So I'll be sending an email asking people, what role, here are the roles, what role do you want to support? But likely, be 1 or 2 people supporting each one of the groups. Kind of, like I said, being that tour guide. So that group goes through each of the 4 stations and engages with MAPC. That should last about an hour. So about 9 o'clock, I'll bring everybody back together. We'll do probably a 10-minute comment period with the public. See if there's any questions, anything that comes to mind, and then we'll, adjourn the committee meeting / event, and then break down and clean up. So very similar to like the first engagement. I don't see, like I read through this facilitator guide, I looked through the agenda, I feel really comfortable. I had mentioned earlier, I don't know if you're aware, Christian's no longer on the project. So we're going to be supported with some other MAPC staff at the event. So, but we will have Alex and John who are our key points of contacts. Okay, so I think that's really, where we are in terms of the community engagement, excuse me. I think, if you can be there by 6:30, the latest, that's great. Tony, I plan on being there at 6 o'clock. And you'll get an email from me, you know, probably tomorrow, just with like final updates and things we want to prepare ourselves for. Let me stop there. Any questions from the committee?
No, but there was some feedback that we received in terms of John speaking, in terms of
Yeah.
how he speaks. And I know it's really hard to
It is
slow
really
down.
hard. I'm gonna try to reach out to him and just talk to him privately and just make sure, you know, I'm just gonna be very candid. We heard this feedback. If you can just think about your style for this next presentation, maybe do something, you know, different to slow it down a little bit. You know, and remember who the audience is. You know, that's, you know, for those of us who've been doing public speaking in front of groups, you know, teams, whatever, you always have to remember that audience piece, right? And so, yeah, it's really, really important. And I think he'll appreciate it. It's all it's gonna do is improve his ability, right? Because he's probably done many of these before. And he's probably, maybe it hasn't, you know, maybe it was just that style. We saw a style that, you know, kind of just brought it to our attention, and maybe it wasn't something that was at another community. We don't know. But yeah, I
Yeah.
will reach out and talk to him.
I think it's a combination of the audience of, you know, just learning about stuff, you know, trying to catch up on it, and John speaking a little fast, but
Yeah.
so it's, you know, when you're trying to comprehend something and someone just keeps going and going and going,
I know.
you know, it's
Yeah,
tough.
and you're right, all the concepts are new, the terminology is new, and it's a lot to digest, right? It's like, you know, going back to and taking, you know, a college course, taking like trigonometry or something, or statistics. That's all brand new language for folks, so, okay.
Yeah, it did feel like plowing through the content rather than, and maybe that's legitimate. There was a lot of content to get through
Yeah.
in a fixed amount. And so, I mean, there's two ways you deal with that. You lengthen the time you take to deliver it, or you know, dumb down the content, bring it down a little bit. You know, and not dumb it down, shorten the content.
Shorten the content. No, I know exactly what you meant, yeah.
Yeah.
So, and you're right,
But-
and the content can get a little dense, right? When you talk about
Yeah.
statistics and all that stuff. Hopefully this is, we know what our goals are, right? We've seen what the strategies are, so we're familiar with it. And this segues right into kind of the feedback. So we did get some feedback, and I shared it with everybody on the goals and the strategies. But if there's any other feedback that we want to share with MAPC, just let me know and send it to me. I think we're well positioned in terms of the work that they've done to date. I think the next piece is really just fine tuning the strategies, right? To make sure what we have makes sense for our community. And I think some of the big ones are going to be around the capacity and the programming piece and the residential opportunities. I think the regulatory strategies, those are straightforward to me. Policy strategies, those seem very straightforward. But when you look at capacity and programming and how we right size what we want to do for our community and align that with residential opportunities, that's where it's becomes a little bit of art, I feel. So, and I hope, you know, the community comes out and they share their feedback and they look at some of this and say, yes, I like this idea. No, I don't like this idea. And we hear from that, because that's going to be most important as we finalize the plan. Okay. I'm just going to move on. So the next is the online open house survey. So we are going to likely kick that off after the community engagement. I know I had originally reviewed it with MAPC. I provided them a ton of feedback just to make some updates, clarifications. Mike sent us some feedback as well. I don't know, Patrick, if you had a chance to look at it. And I know I can't recall. I don't think I sent it to Mark or Patty, but I can. I don't know. So hopefully our residents will be able to review it. I think it takes about, if you sit and do it end to end, it probably takes about 20 minutes. And I didn't think that was a long amount of time to complete the survey. I think you don't have to invest a lot of detail. You can read through all of the goals and the strategies and then go to the social pinpoint and then look at the proposed locations and then really just leave your comments. So I'll be interested to see what kind of comments we receive, how people view those different locations, and then we'll, see how long, see how this all pulls together. I wanted to get a feel from folks. How long do you think we should leave the survey open? 2 weeks, 3 weeks? I'm pretty flexible, but I'd like to give residents enough time, and we'll certainly promote it on social media and, let folks know it's available. Get it on the town website, all of that stuff.
Does MAPC have any recommended length of time that they leave it open?
I forgot to ask them that, but let me take that as a quick note to ask them.
I mean, this is very similar to what they've done in the past, so, whether, I would be interested to hear what kind of.
Yeah, Mark, do you
Okay,
remember how long the open space survey was for? Because that was very comprehensive as well.
Yeah, it was open for a while. But my sense is you can look at the feeds in that, and I think, after the first 2 weeks, it falls off pretty dramatically.
Yeah, and that's what I'm thinking as well. And that seemed like we had a good response rate. It was like several hundred people that responded.
Yeah.
So,
And then there's probably a bump right at the end, right? Right, the deadline, small bump.
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. That is definitely typical. You get a lot coming in at first, it dies down, and then towards the end, you keep reminding, and then you say, this is it, last day, and then people jump on it. Okay. All right, so we'll be wrapping that up and finalizing it with MAPC, and then, look out for it to come out. I think it's, again, I'll put some type of message together if you want to send it out to friends, family, your neighborhood, and say, hey, this is happening, please, we'd love to have you contribute to the survey, and it's anonymous. So I know we asked for some residential information, but it's completely anonymous. We're not going to see who responded. All we're going to see is the results that are going to be collated by MAPC. So it's really important. To me, it's important to stress that anonymity because it encourages a higher response rate.
Yeah, question on that is it, do you have to get through the entire survey? I believe I got through most of it, but I'm not sure if I had to step away.
Because I stopped and then went back to it. Like I wanted to test to see how the tool worked. So I don't think you necessarily need to complete the entire survey. I mean, you could be someone that wants to, if you have a certain objective or maybe you're not really good with the computer, but you can only get through a certain part. I think that's fine too. But it'll be good feedback as well to see if the construction of the survey was too complex. But from what MAPC had mentioned, they use the same format with other communities. But now it makes me think, if they were one of our context communities, what was their response rate? So I'm gonna go make that note.
You said it's anonymous, but do we ask if they're Nahant residents?
Can't remember, but I can check it.
We should quiz them on local lore.
Local Nahant lore.
What does hoopa mean?
I know. If you know what that means, you are a Nahant resident. You have to put in your name and address and email so you can get updates. And I'm sorry, you have to put your first name, last name, and email address. I don't think you have to put your address. So, and I think that's fine.
Okay.
But it's a public survey, so any member of the public, we can't, it's not just for Nahant residents, but we're promoting it within the community.
You could sort it by different responses. If we had 2,000 responses and half of them were not Nahant residents, I'd be interested in all of the responses, but I'd also be particularly interested in Nahant's responses.
Yeah, So, and I think how questions are answered, like in the social pinpoint, will really help determine whether that was a Nahant resident or not, right? Because they'll know, they'll know intimately the locations of some of these sites.
Mm.
Okay. All right, so that's where we are. Let me just check. Anything else? Okay, great. Old business, community old business, I don't have anything. We're up to date. I do owe another set of meeting minutes, which I'll definitely get out to the committee, hopefully when we have our next meeting. And then next is any committee new business, if anybody has any. No, okay. So the next is citizens forum, and I know I do see members of the public. So if you want to ask a question of the committee, if you want to raise your hand, and I'll make sure you're unmuted. Actually, let me see if I can do this. Unmute themselves. Okay, so if there's a member of the public that wants to ask a question, they may, all you have to do is unmute yourself. See if there's anything in the chat. Okay, I don't see anybody. I don't see anybody unmuting themselves. So, may I have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
So moved.
Okay, Mark, and is there a second?
Seconded.
Thank you, Patrick. Okay, roll call vote. Mark,
Yes.
Patty? Yes,
No.
okay. Patrick?
Yes.
And the chair is yes. It is 7:31 PM and we are going to be adjourning our meeting for the evening. So
I like these quick meetings.
I do too. So, but stay tuned, check your emails. I will be sending updates. So if anything pivots, I will let folks know.
Thanks, Michelle.
All right. Thanks, everybody. Have a great evening. Bye. Bye, Patty.